On describing people. We did a lesson like this a couple of weeks ago where I had you ask questions about me and then I answered them, but I thought that we didn't quite go over enough of the words and phrases that you would use to describe people. So I thought in this lesson we would do that. Let me just check to make sure everything is working. It looks like everything is. Let me check the audio. Excellent. Everything looks like it's working properly. So again, in this lesson, we're going to look at describing people. I've prepared a number of pages of different words and phrases that we use in English to describe people. So welcome to this lesson. Hello to everyone in the chat. It's fun to see all of you here earlier on. The first description we're going to use is arrogant. So you can see this guy has a crown on his head and he kind of has his nose turned up a little bit. When we use the word arrogant in English to describe a person, we're usually talking about someone who thinks they are more important than other people. Sometimes they think they are smarter than other people. Sometimes they think they are better looking than other people. But the word is arrogant. It is pronounced that way, arrogant. And again, so you can see this guy looks pretty arrogant. I'm not going to mention anyone that I know that is arrogant, but I, in the past, have been told I can seem arrogant sometimes, which surprises me because I try really hard to be the opposite of arrogant. But sometimes maybe I am a little bit. It's always good to be aware of what you are like yourself. So arrogant, nose in the air, maybe thinking they're better than other people. By the way, welcome to this lesson on describing people. Notice it says part 1 because I'm going to do 2 more parts to this lesson in the next couple of weeks because I think we can spend quite a bit of time learning how to describe people. If you're new here, don't forget to click the subscribe button down there below. It's the red button. And Todd will be posting a link in the chat that you can use to ask questions about this lesson. We do ask, though, that you keep the questions limited to the topic. So please only ask questions about describing people. I think I'm a little off center. I'll just leave that. The next word we have, and by the way, I am trying to do the lesson using words that are very common in English, but you may not have seen as you have been learning English. So the next one is adorable. So we often use the word adorable to describe children who are really, really cute. And we even use these words to describe animals like pets. So kittens, baby cats, we sometimes describe as being adorable. So when someone is adorable, they are cute. If you have children and they're about age 5 or 6, they're usually pretty adorable at that age. They say cute things, they act in funny ways, they do funny things. So little kids and baby cats, kittens, are both considered adorable. Let me pronounce that word one more time for you. Adorable. So it means that it's just really easy to like them when somebody is adorable. We don't often use this term for adults. I haven't been called adorable in a long time, but sometimes when an adult says something that we find is kind of funny, we might say, "Oh, that's adorable." So we're commenting on the phrase that they said, but not on the person. You wouldn't really call a person adorable. It would sound kind of strange. So next one, we will actually describe people as being warm. So in English, if you describe someone as being warm, it means that they are a very loving, nice, kind person. Usually in the sense of if you were talking about your grandmother. So I picked a picture of an older lady here. Oftentimes grandparents are very warm and friendly people. So when someone is warm, they're just friendly to you. A warm person might help you. A warm person might say kind things to you. A warm person is someone who you might go talk to. If something was bothering you, you might have a grandmother or a grandfather who's just a very warm person, very nice, very kind. They make you a cup of tea and they sit down and they talk to you about whatever is troubling you. So warm, you do use warm to describe people in a positive way. It's very common. Like I could say that my mom is a very warm and friendly person. She's just really nice. So I know in other languages this might have a different meaning, but in English it certainly means a nice, kind person. So again, hello to everyone who is here. It's very, very cool to see all of you in the chat and to see 262 people watching. If you're new here, we're doing a lesson right now on how to describe people in English. The fly is back. How to describe people in English. I'm Bob the Canadian. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you are new here. Hey, this guy is impatient. So when you're impatient, it means that you cannot wait for things. It's the opposite of being patient. So when you are patient, you are calm and you don't look at your watch all the time. But when you're impatient, it means that you want to get somewhere quickly and you're always checking your watch to see, oh, this train is not on time and I'm going to be late. So an impatient person is not usually that nice to be around. When people are impatient, they're always in a rush. They're always doing things quickly and they're always trying to get somewhere as fast as possible. So I'm also sometimes an impatient person. So that might surprise you. I know in my videos, it might seem like I'm a very patient person, but sometimes I can be quite impatient. So I'm just gonna take a sip of water. Losing my voice just a little bit, that's no fun. So let me check if there's any questions. Remember, I'm only going to ask questions related to the topic. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so, and then I'm going to answer a question that is off topic slightly, but Gaga says, behind you is your class, right? Will you teach in your school today? Yes, this is my classroom behind me. I have students coming in about 1 hour for French class, grade 9 French. And then I also teach a computer class and another French class later today. So this is my classroom. You can see this is a smart board connected to a computer and a whiteboard and then some desks around me. So thanks, Gaga. That was a great question. Next question is, let's see here. The next question, I'm not sure, Dimitro from the Ukraine says, hi Bob, can you describe a person like a safe pair of hands or a safe pair of boots? I got confused when I think in the tool lesson that you mentioned safety boots. We don't use those phrases often to describe a person. You might say that a person is kind, that a person is gentle, that a person is just a warm person. You could say that a person's a very comforting person, but we don't often use or ever use those phrases to say someone is a safe pair of hands. Maybe you do say that in your own language. That's quite possible. So let me continue here describing people. You can describe people as being aggressive. So you can see this football player, American football player, is trying to break through. He's trying to get past these other players and he's being very aggressive. An aggressive person sometimes uses their physical body to be aggressive. So they might hit or push or shove people out of the way. So again, they might push or shove people out of the way. They might use their elbows to get ahead in line. So a person can be aggressive in the physical sense, but a person can also use words to be aggressive. They can speak aggressively. So they can use very direct sentences. They can tell people what to do, like, get out of my way. I'm in a hurry. They can be very aggressive with their words. So when you're aggressive, we also describe an aggressive person as being pushy. Doesn't mean that they're actually pushing people. It can mean that. But a pushy person uses their words and language to get what they want. So aggressive and pushy is another way to describe people in English. The opposite of that is calm. There are people who are very calm. When you're calm, you just like peaceful situations. You like to sit in quiet places when you're calm. People who are calm, a lot of times, in order to feel calm, they will meditate. So they will sit and they will clear their mind and they will sit and meditate to be calm. So definitely the opposite of aggressive. A calm person might sit and read a book on a bus or on the subway. A calm person might talk quietly and they might have a nice soothing voice. When you have a soothing voice, it means that somehow your voice is just calming for people to listen to. Some of you have said that I have a soothing voice, which I find hard to believe. I think I have a very clear voice. I think my voice works to help people learn English, but I don't consider my voice to be a calm voice. But some of you have mentioned that, and that's very, very cool. Let's see here. Yuri. So Yuri, I haven't seen this news article, but I had heard about it. How could you describe Greta Thunberg during a speech at the UN? I would say it sounds like she was very forthright. So when someone is forthright, they speak the truth. They speak very clearly. You could also say that she was vehement. You'll have to look that word up. Let me type it for you. Hopefully I type it correctly. Vehement is when you are very direct and clear and not angry, but close to it with your words. So that's, I think, what it sounds like. I have not seen the clip, but I did hear some colleagues talk about it. Ziev has the next question. How do you describe someone that is very pleased with people like they say that I am, or very pleasant? I think very pleasant with people. You would say that you are pleasant. A pleasant person is a kind person. So there are people that are very pleasant. You like to be around them. If you go out for coffee, if you have a friend who's very pleasant, it means they're kind. They ask about your life. They're very calm as well. I really like pleasant people. They're very nice. Elvina has the next one, and then we'll move on with the lesson. Elvina says, hi, Bob. Is there a difference between clever and intelligent? So there's a slight difference. A clever person is most likely intelligent. Intelligent is a broader term for someone who is really, really smart. The fly's landing on my hand now. So an intelligent person would bring a fly swatter if there are flies. A clever person would think of really sneaky ways to get the fly to land. So they might bring some honey, or they might bring something sweet to put on the desk because that's really clever, right? They're thinking of a way to trick the fly into landing. So an intelligent person is smart. A clever person is smart, but also is really innovative. They can think of new ideas and ways to do something. Let's see here. Victor says, hello, can I say I adorable chocolate? No, you can say I adore chocolate. That's the verb, I adore. So it means to love. I adore, I love, I like. But you wouldn't say I adorable chocolate. You could say that when kids eat chocolate and they get it on their face, it's adorable, okay? Because that action could be adorable, but you wouldn't say that way. So I didn't put this whole picture up. This guy is holding up his hand, and he has a single finger. He's holding up this finger all by itself, which in most English-speaking countries and a lot of countries in the world is very vulgar. So people who are vulgar, they will swear, they will use bad words. They might smoke and flick their cigarette butt on the ground and then say a couple swear words. And then this guy's giving you the finger. So in English, when someone gives you the finger, I think you know what I mean. I don't want to do it because I like to keep the videos friendly to everyone. But if someone holds up just this finger, like this guy is doing, it kind of means something bad. So a vulgar person tends to swear, tends to litter, they tend to not care about the people around them. They tend to flip you off. This guy's flipping you off, by the way, or he is giving you the middle finger. So anyways, vulgar people are not very nice people. I'm not a vulgar person. I can't even show you this in my video because I don't like this when people do this with their finger. I know there's various ways of doing it around the world, but that's in Canada. If someone does that, we also say he's flipping you the bird. So you didn't learn that here, people. So we had adorable. Did we have adorable? We did, right? Let me make sure that I'm doing this right. We had adorable, but we also have lovable. When someone is lovable, it means that they are easy to love. So I thought, again, you can use this for pets as well as people. Small dogs are adorable. So this little dog is hiding on the couch. He is a very lovable dog. He's very cute. I'm sure that his owner finds him to be very lovable, very, very easy to love. As long as he doesn't chew up the pillows or chew up the couch, I would find this dog lovable as well. So yes, little dogs are lovable. Here's a simple one that you probably all know, and that's funny. So I think we all know someone in life who is really good at telling jokes, someone who is really good at telling funny stories, and we would say that that person is funny. You could also say that they are hilarious. Let me put that in the chat. He is very funny. He is hilarious. So there you go. I'm sure, I don't know this guy, but I'm sure if I met this guy in real life, I'm sure he is a very funny person, and I'm sure he is hilarious. He looks like someone who knows all the latest jokes. I'm sure he watches all of the late night talk show hosts and learns new jokes and then tells jokes at work or at school. Sometimes I'm a funny person. If I'm in a really good mood, I can be quite funny. Sometimes I'm not a funny person at all. But it is really nice if you know some funny people in life. Super, super nice. Let's do one more and we'll look at some questions. A person can be violent. So you see that this girl she's punching this guy. So she's a violent person. A violent person does physical harm to other people. So they might slap people, they might punch people, they might just push people. So a violent person is not a nice person to be around. There are a lot of violent people who are criminals, and eventually they end up in jail because they are violent. So a violent person is not a nice person at all. Let me check for questions. First of all, let me mention again, hello to the 400 people watching. We are learning about how to describe people. This is part 1. We have gone over a few words already. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up. Let's continue on with some questions. Let's see here. Henry from Taiwan says, "Hi Bob, are you tenacious and adamant? Good words to describe people in a positive way. Can tenacious be holding out? Thank you." So when you're tenacious, it means that if you start something, you do it till you're done. When you're tenacious, it means if you are having an argument, you stand your ground in the argument. That means you don't easily give up your opinion when you're tenacious. Little dogs, when they bite onto a stick and they won't let go, they're very tenacious, okay? So when someone's tenacious, they they're really good at holding on to something. I'm just looking up if it has another meaning for a sec. Tenacious, tending to keep a firm hold of something, either physical or in an argument. So there you go, tenacious. When you're adamant, it means that you are convinced that you are correct. So if you are adamant, you just say, I think the world is round and I'm not changing my opinion. So that would mean that you are adamant. Okay, you don't want to be convinced that you are wrong. So great, those are great, Henry, by the way. Good ways to describe people. Let's see here. Maurizio says, hi, it's warm, have a link with warm, hot in French. Well, hot in French means the same as, well, hot in French, let's not talk about that. It has sexual connotations in the French language. But in English, if you're warm, it means you're a nice person. In English, if you say someone is hot, you're saying that they are very, very attractive, okay? If you say that a man is hot or a woman is hot, what you are saying is that they are very beautiful and very attractive or very handsome, okay? Next question is from Helena, says, what do we say when someone is psychologically aggressive? You could say that they're mentally abusive. So someone can be abusive to another person. That means that they might be physically abusive, so they might hit them, they might slap them. Or someone can be mentally abusive, where they use words to make someone not feel good. So that's how I would describe it. How would I describe this fly? Dimitro says from the Ukraine, how would you describe that fly? I would describe the fly as, the fly is annoying. The fly is, how would I say this? Yeah, I was gonna say he's timely. So the fly always seems to be on time. I know it's a different fly each week, but definitely the fly has he's tenacious too, by the way, the fly. Lolly says, hi Bob, quiet, calm, tranquil. Do they all have the same meaning? Yes. So, but you wouldn't describe a person as being tranquil, okay? A place can be tranquil, but a person can be quiet. A person can be calm. For sure, those two things definitely work. Let's move on. Sometimes I am lazy. Sometimes. This is a teenager sitting in a chair while his parents are telling him to probably clean his room or do his homework. And the kid is sitting with his legs crossed. So he has one leg across the other and his hands behind his back. He's kind of like, I don't have a lot to do today. But his parents obviously think he is being lazy. So he is a very lazy person. Let me just take care of something for a sec. Give me 2 seconds here. There we go. Anyways, so he is a lazy person. He is someone who doesn't want to work, doesn't want to do his homework, probably doesn't want to clean his room, probably doesn't want to do the dishes or help with the housework. So this person is a lazy person. About 1 day a week, I'm pretty lazy. Sometimes on Saturday mornings, I'm lazy because I've had a very, very long week and I'm just not feeling energetic. That's another good word to describe someone, energetic. So we have some opposites here. We have dishonest. So a dishonest person likes to try and trick you or steal from you or do things so that they can get money from you. So dishonest people, again, are not very, very nice are not very, very nice people. I'm reading and I'm trying to talk at the same time, so sorry about that. So a dishonest person is not nice, but an honest person is nice. So an honest person, if you were buying food from them at the market, an honest person would not lie to you. An honest person would answer your questions truthfully. They would try to always speak the truth. So it's nice, especially when you're buying things, it's nice to buy things from honest people. So an honest person is a very, very nice person. Let's check for some questions. We'll go over here. Oh, this is great. Andre has a question here. Let me find there we go. Andre says, hi Bob, can I say a person is phony? Yes. Or that a person is false, or a person is a hoax when I want to say that his or her feelings are not true. So you would say they are phony. You wouldn't say that a person is a hoax. A hoax is when someone tells a story that isn't true, or has a news story that isn't true. So you wouldn't use that for a person, and you wouldn't say that a person, as a personality trait, you wouldn't say that they are false. So you definitely would say they are phony. So if I was to, pretend, like if this classroom wasn't real and I lied about something, you could say, oh, he's a phony. He's a fake. That's another way to say it, by the way. You could also say the person is phony. He is a phony, or he is phony. It works both ways, adjective and noun. Let's see here. Jorman. I don't have my reading glasses, so sometimes I have to guess at the name. Jorman says, are there any idioms to describe people? Yes. You can say that someone is busy as a bee. You could say that someone is strong as a horse. We don't use a lot of these in regular everyday English, but you will hear them from time to time. So that's a great question, by the way. Let's see here. Masha, and then we'll move on with the lesson. Masha says, greetings from the Ukraine. Could you please explain the word down to earth and sensible? Are these words the same as blunt, abrupt, brusque, or curt? No. So down to earth is actually a somewhat positive term. Someone who is down to earth is just a very nice person. They understand the practicalities of life. Sometimes they're good at doing work with their hands, but someone who's down to earth is, they speak the truth a lot and those kinds of things. Someone who is sensible just does logical things all the time. But your other words, if someone is blunt, they just tell you the truth and they don't care about your feelings. If someone is abrupt, they do the same thing. So slightly different. I highly recommend you look up each of those words in an English dictionary just to get a good description of them. Some people are very, very loyal. I put a picture of a German Shepherd, of a dog, because dogs are very loyal. So when you describe a dog as being loyal, it means that it really loves its owner. When you have a pet, you are the pet's owner. So dogs are very loyal, but people can be very, very loyal as well. So people who are loyal, they trust the other person. They'll do anything they ask. Oftentimes, if you live in a country where you have a king or queen, you would say that people in that country are loyal to the queen. That means that they trust the queen. And they would obey the queen. So loyal is a very good character trait. It's good for people to be loyal. This is a fireman. We have firefighters who fight fires for us, and they are very courageous. When you are courageous, it means you are brave. Courageous means that you are not easily frightened. You are not easily scared. So obviously, if you are someone who goes and fights fires, you are a courageous person. You might be a little bit afraid, but you obviously are more brave than I am, or more courageous than I am. You have to have a certain amount of bravery. You have to have a certain amount of courage to go into a burning building to put out the fire. So a firefighter is a very courageous person. So very cool. The somewhat opposite of that is to be timid. So a timid person, you can see this boy looks a little bit afraid. He's a little bit scared. So we would say that he is timid. So as we said, a firefighter is courageous or brave. Sometimes little children can be timid. Sometimes it's hard for them to ask for a cookie. Sometimes they are a little bit afraid of the adults in their lives, so they can be timid. Sometimes my own children can be a little bit timid when they want to ask me to buy something for them that's really expensive. So they might be timid, which means they're a little bit afraid to ask me about it. This guy is egotistical. So when you're egotistical, notice I pronounced it slightly different. So egotistical or egotistical. When you're egotistical, you think you are the most important person in the world every day. So you can see this guy, he's brushing his hair. He's actually a little bit bald. When you're bald, it means your hair is falling out. He's looking in a mirror, I think. Is that a mirror? Yes. So I would say when I look at this guy, he thinks he is the most important person in the world, and we would describe him as being egotistical. So he is an egotistical person. It's a hard word to say, egotistical, but we do say it like, oh man, that guy is so egotistical. Anyways, when you think you're the most important person in the world. When you're impolite, it means you are not nice to people. It means you are rude to people. This picture of a kid is making kind of a funny face, maybe at an adult. We would say that this person is impolite. So they are not being nice. They are not being kind. They are being rude to someone, and they are being impolite. So try not to be impolite. Children who are polite, we in English say please and thank you. So a polite child or a polite person would say, excuse me, could I have a cookie? And then if the person gave them a cookie, they would say thank you for the cookie. So if you are polite, you are kind, and you are gracious, and you are helpful, and you just think about the other person if they are helping you. And you say please when you want something, and you say thank you when they give it to you. You should say please and thank you a lot. Let's see here. I'm going to go to another question. Alvina has a question. So I see a few people are still asking questions in the chat. Make sure you do use the link to ask the questions. That is the best way to do it. Alvina says, how would you describe a person who procrastinates often? So someone who always does something at the last minute. We would just say that we would use the noun procrastinator. We would say that they are a procrastinator. So if someone is a procrastinator, they do everything at the last possible minute. If they have a test, they study for the test 10 minutes before. If they need to go somewhere and they need to leave at 8 o'clock, they would probably still be doing things at 8:01 as they leave. So the people who procrastinate don't do things on time. Hopefully you've recognized the last minute and on time. When you do something at the last minute, you do it with no time to spare. So that's not very nice. Some people are cruel. If you're cruel, it means that you are mean. It means that you get angry easily. Someone who is cruel might also be aggressive or violent. So we looked at those two words. They might also be abusive. When you're abusive, it means that you hurt someone else regularly. So this person is yelling. So he's being cruel by yelling at someone. Anyways, so this person is yelling, so he is being cruel. I was answering questions, though. I should go back to that. Let's see here. Fedor says, how can I describe a person who always complains? So if you have someone who constantly complains, how would I describe that person? I would say that person's never happy. I would say that person is a complainer. So we would use a noun. We would say, oh, that guy's such a complainer. We might call them a whiner. So someone who complains a lot, we call a whiner sometimes. So a whiner, that's a bit of a slang word. partial slang, but we might say that they are a whiner. But I can't think of what their personality trait would be, just other than unhappy. So let's see here. Rajendra says, what is the difference between amicable and amiable? They're about the same. What I will say is we don't use those two words very often, okay? So they're words, but they are not common in everyday English. You might see them in a book, but you will not often see them. Celine says, hi Bob, what is the meaning of a crazy person? Or what would we call a crazy, how would we describe a crazy person? We would say they're crazy. We use that term. We would just say, oh, that person is crazy. That is definitely how we would describe a crazy person. Let's see here. Let's go. Oh, Bryant, I like this. So Bryant says, hi Bob, I am from Malaysia. Hi Bryant. Have you been to Malaysia? No, I haven't. I should go and travel more. Bob, how do you describe a person who is trying to be nice with you, but talks badly about you behind your back? We would say they are two-faced. So when a person is two-faced, it means that when they talk to you, they're kind, but when you're not in the room, they say bad things about you. So it's like they have two different faces. They have the kind face when they talk to you, but then they also are just rude and say mean things about you behind your back. So that's how we would describe those two people. Last question, and then we'll do more lesson. Audria says, hey Bob, how are you? Could you please explain how to use genuine to describe a person? So someone who is genuine is always the same person no matter what situation they are in. So for instance, my wife Jen is very genuine. That means that if you talk to Jen on the phone, or if you meet her in person, or if someone else meets her, she doesn't pretend to be someone different. When she's with people who are rich, she doesn't pretend to be rich. When she's with people who know a lot, she doesn't pretend to know a lot. A genuine person is just always the same person. They're not fake. A fake person sometimes pretends to be something or someone that they aren't. So hopefully that was a good description. Hopefully that made some sense. Hey, jealous, we went over jealousy last week, I think. If someone is jealous, it means that they like someone and they don't want anyone else to like that person. And they might even think that other people like them. You can also be jealous of people having things you don't have. Someone might have a nicer house than you, and you might be jealous of them. That means that you're annoyed that they have a nicer house. You're annoyed that they have a nicer car. So it's not good to be jealous, by the way. You shouldn't compare yourself to other people. Just not a great way to live. If someone is sympathetic, you want me to say that again? Sympathetic. When you're sympathetic, it means that you are a kind, warm person, especially when someone else is having a bad time in their life or going through a bad time in their life. YouTuber Sujit, I know you keep saying, why are you not replying to me on Instagram? Please don't spam the chat. And second of all, I get so many requests from people to talk to me. It's hard for me to keep up. So I'm not trying to be rude, but please don't spam the chat asking over and over again why I'm not replying to you. That's just not kind. Someone who is sympathetic, if you are, let's say that you break your arm, okay? So you break your arm. Someone who is sympathetic will visit you at the hospital. They will visit you at home while you're wearing a cast. They are sympathetic in the sense that they just try to be kind to you, okay? So a sympathetic person is just very nice, especially if you're going through a bad time in your life. So they are just a nice person, and they just are very helpful, and they are very kind. And again, especially when something in your life isn't going very, very good. So anyways, let me just check something for a sec. Here we go. Generous. If you have money and you like to give money to other people, you are considered generous. So a generous person is very kind with their money. Maybe you have an uncle who is generous, and sometimes he takes you out to eat and he pays for the meal. Maybe your parents are very generous, and in your city, they give money to different organizations to help poor people. So when you're generous, it means that you don't mind giving away money. If you are generous, sometimes you give your time. So generous, it's nice to be a generous person. And notice it's generous, generous. So I like generous people. People can also be frugal. When you are frugal, it means that you are good at saving money. And when you are frugal, it means that you are you don't spend a lot of money. You probably buy some of your clothes used instead of new. You probably wear your clothes a very long time. If your clothes get a hole in it, you probably fix it instead of buying a new one. So when you are frugal, you are good at saving money, and you're also good at not spending money. So you're good at just living a simple life. My mom is very frugal. Welcoming. If you are welcoming, it means that you can see this guy is very welcoming. He's like shaking this lady's hand. He's probably saying hello. He has a smile on his face. He is a very welcoming person. So he is just like, hey, how are you? Come on in. Good to see you. He's making the other person feel welcome. That's what a welcoming person would do. So welcoming people are very, very nice. Sometimes when I'm tired, I'm very clumsy. You can see here this coffee has been spilled. So the coffee cup fell over. So a clumsy person drops things a lot. Sometimes they trip on things. A clumsy person, one morning I was drinking my coffee. This is water, but I took a sip and then coffee fell on my shirt because I was clumsy. I almost dropped my laptop the other day because I bumped it into the side of the door while I was walking through. So a clumsy person has trouble navigating through life when they're clumsy. So that's what a clumsy person does. Hey, I'm going to do a couple more questions here. I'm a little full on questions and we are almost out of time. Let's see here. Ellen has the next one. Ellen says, hi Bob, how do you describe people who are greedy about money? You would say they're greedy. Just write out, use the word greedy. So a greedy person, you know, they take, if you set a plate of cookies down, they take the biggest cookie. That's what a greedy person does. If I put money on a table and said, whoever wants the money, come and get it, a greedy person would run as fast as they could and take all the money off the table. So a greedy person just really likes taking care of themselves first. Fedor says, are timid and shy the same thing? They are very close to the same, yes. When you're timid, you're a little bit afraid. When you're shy, you're also a little bit afraid. But it might depend on the situation. So shy people in particular don't like talking to other people. Whereas if you're timid, it's a more general sense of being afraid. So that's the difference between the two. Let's go over a few more. There's people who can be impossible. So you can describe a person as being impossible. That means that they get their own way all the time, and it's difficult to convince them to do something different. They are impossible. Some people are quite awkward. This is a fun word to say, awkward. When you're awkward, you don't know what to say when you are in a group of people. You don't like social situations when you're awkward. So an awkward person usually likes to stay home and just play games on their computer. An awkward person doesn't generally like to go out and hang around with other people. So awkward. Sometimes, even if you're not awkward all the time, you can go somewhere and it can be awkward. And you can feel awkward in certain situations. So when I first started dating Jen and I didn't know her family, I was awkward when I was first meeting them. So I would say funny things by accident, and I was nervous to meet new people, and it was just awkward. It's not awkward anymore. It's actually really, really nice. Jen has a really nice family, by the way. If you're absent-minded, you do things like this. You put things on top of your car and then you drive away. So when you're absent-minded, you easily forget things. An absent-minded person might forget to put sugar in their coffee on their way to work and then realize that their coffee has no sugar in it. So an absent-minded person is forgetful. And we have two last ones. If you're introverted, you like being by yourself. If you are extroverted, notice it's an O here. Sometimes it's an A. Sometimes it's extraverted. Sometimes it's extroverted. Same word. If you're extroverted, you like being with other people. I, believe it or not, am introverted. I really like being by myself. I like reading. I like going for walks. I'm an introverted person. Sounds funny, doesn't it? Because I'm a teacher. You might think I'm extroverted and that I really like being around people. I do like being around people, but if I was to choose what to do for fun, I usually choose things that would make you realize that I am introverted. So anyways, folks, I'm going to do a couple more questions and then we are going to wrap it up. Let's see. Mike has the next one. Mike from Russia says, Bob, are pretty and handsome the same? And can a man be characterized as pretty? So first of all, we generally use pretty to talk about women, and we use handsome to talk about men. But there are times where, very rare, where you could say a man is pretty. It's not common, but sometimes men are just incredibly, like man has pretty eyes. I don't know. I would just say they're an angry person. I would say that they are volatile. So volatile would mean that you get upset very quickly. But generally, if someone is always angry, we would just say that they are miserable. They are a miserable person. You might say that they are just easily angered. That would be another way to describe it. So anyways, I really enjoyed this lesson, but I need to wrap it up. If you are here for the first time, don't forget to click that subscribe button below. Thumbs up are awesome if you can find the thumb. So cool to see 465 of you watching. If you didn't watch this week's video, go find it. It was a really fun video. I went to 4 different restaurants. People seem to really be liking that lesson. So if you want to see 4 different restaurants in Canada, and I go order food at each, go do that. It was super fun. Anyways, this was a fun lesson. Don't forget to watch this tomorrow again if you need to turn subtitles on. When you're learning a language, it's always good to watch a video 2 or 3 times and to add time between it. So when you watch a video lesson on YouTube to learn English, 24 hours later, it is a good idea to watch it again. I'm not expecting you to watch this whole video, but maybe come back and watch some parts of it. Someone just gave me a super chat. Enrique Alexander, thank you so much, Enrique. He says, your lessons are so helpful. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I very much appreciate that, Enrique. That is very, very nice of you. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. I'm going to just say bye to everyone in the chat. Thanks for coming. I hope you learned a lot of English. Live lesson tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you then. I hope you have a good day. Don't forget to go watch Tuesday's video on restaurants. It was really good. I'm gonna push this button. I think you guys